Thrand here, and this is a very special reply video to Skallagrim and Sean Franklin. They did a video where they did a Norman Helm test, and it was called Helm Test 3, I believe, Norman Face Helm, 16 gauge. Well, I did a test on a helm recently, very much like that, where I used this Transitional Helm, which is based on a Norman Face Helm. And not only that, it's 16 gauge. If you look, my sword cuts are very close to what Skall got and Sean Franklin got with the actual sword, because swords aren't really good against helmets. And a lot of people said that on my video I held back. So I want to address a few of those things here. The first thing I'd like to do is critique their video a little bit. They have their head at chin level. First of all, this would be like attacking somebody in a part of a body they don't have. They don't have anything down like this that you wouldn't be coming in at angles to hit unless you were tip cutting them. So that allows to generate more energy. Maybe Sean Franklin set it up that way with Skall because when they cut to Tommy, they usually hold their sword in a rigid position and just swing down. And to get more power, they just hold higher up. Okay, that's good and all, but I don't think that's necessary fighting with a shield. A lot of their cutting techniques are based on arming sword and late century long sword that have to do with screening cuts. Techniques are based on screening cuts. That's why you have a lot of techniques that involve step cutting, because it aids with the screening. It aids with the defense, especially with a crossguard like this, a wide crossguard or a quillion. And that's the way it's set up. In unarmored combat, I would not fight with this Viking sword any way I would at all if I were armored and had a shield. So I'm armored and I have a shield today, and I'm going to be using it as if I was able to put more power behind the blows. And he talks about overswings. The overswings he speaks of are kind of like if you draw it way back, I guess, but you swing and swing through. It's not pushing through the target, even with a two-handed weapon. You cannot push through steel or metal to cause more damage. Point A to point B are everything. So if I was going to cut directly out in front of me like them, I wouldn't want to go back past this point here. Any more is useless. This is useless, wasting my energy trying to get it to go forward. And I'm throwing the sword forward. I start off in a position where it's very much like theirs, except it's not rigid, and I'm not just using my arm to get the energy in my body. I'm using all of it, but I'm throwing it straight out. So my sword does all the work. I'm letting the weight of the sword hack into the target. I don't have to use my body at all. I don't have to step with it. And on armor, it's cleft. You're cleaving it. You're not trying to cut it. You can't cut through steel. It's not possible. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry about a long intro here, but I'm just going to go ahead and redo the test. The qualms I had about it not being up high like a real head, mine's up even higher. Our heads are more flexible in the neck. They give more like a real person getting hit than the zombie go boom heads. And it'll probably make it harder, but let's see what kind of damage I get with a cast blow. A lot of people want to see me go all out and thought I had some special love for this Yalm or a helmet here, and I don't. So let's go. I shall start off with a cast blow, like I and Roland Warzeka believe was used early period against mail. I'm with some of the heavier swords. Not saying all swords are heavy, they're not heavy, but they're more blade heavy, blade balance. This is one very much like an Ulfbert. This is a Norman late century sword. I shall use my shield techniques like if I was using a large round, and I'm using a large round. And I'm going to try to hit it in the most advantageous spot. So let's see that. Oh! Got a nice crease. A little more damage than we did last time. It's hard to see if the helm, the head was hurt, but we will continue. Sword held up well. I'll go ahead and hit it a little harder then. This was definitely harder than last time. So we got a nice cut right here, where it actually cut and entered it in well. Oh! Not exactly sure where I hit it there, because that's some of the spots. We got some nice clefts into it. We shall test the head and see what's done to it if anything happened to it. But that didn't take a lot of energy from me at all. All I was doing is letting the sword do the work. These cuts look almost as bad as they got from an actual axe. Oops. Which they had a late century, it looked like a later century. These are some substantial dents. We'll test our head just to see. Because we want to be fair about this. No damage to our skull. We have an exceptionally big skull to make sure there's less ballistic gelatin. I'm only using one arming cap, not two. As you can see, the dents in that helmet are as bad as they did almost using the later century poleaxe. I'm going to try one-handed axe with the cast style blow. And that will be coming from hell, pretty much, is like what you all consider it, that I'm swinging it like a maniac or a baseball bat, which is not what I'm doing. I throw it forward. It's not a huge arcing thing, it's not coming way over. It is a streamlined attack that goes straight out to limit the range of motion of like swinging it and telegraphing. But it rocks back only at the last minute when I'm getting ready to throw it. I'm not actually starting back here and then swinging. And I'm using my wrist. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Those look like they're as bad as the axe hits they guys. See what an axe will do if I throw a full force. Oh! I saw some gel fly off. I don't know where it came from, but
yes, it's on the ground.
And he took some damage from that. Yeah, sure, you betcha. I think it came off his chin because the chin strap cut the gel. And remember, on a human, this might have cut your chin from that type of impact and caused it to bleed or cut into it. But gel, when it gets bruised, splits. That's something that flesh does not do, so there's no point in taking it off of that. But this is from a one-handed axe, and this is the exact same gauge helmet, mild steel, which is equivalent, which whether Scal told y'all or not, to an iron helmet if it was just a hair thicker. It's a hair, like almost not even a full gauge. It would behave about the same way because it's mild steel. So it's very much like they would have been using at this time period. They weren't actually hardening the steel yet and hadn't perfected that method. Go ahead and hit it again. I'm going to try to aim in a more advantageous spot where I might be able to bust something. Oh! Get a hair high again. And of course up there it's not going to do much to his actual head. We're just caving the helmet in. But I would have hated to hit with that. I reinforced the neck, meaning the neck is not going to break like it would. Some of these blows might have enough force to shatter a spine, you know, like shatter one of the bones or hurt the vertebrae in your neck and knock you down from that. So we get hit with a car accident pretty much. Oh. Dang! These are some nasty blows. Extremely nasty. You wouldn't want your helmet to be like this in combat. Let's try to see if I can come in more on that skull. Keep aiming a hair high. Oh! Got a little bit better than what I wanted. Let's just check our head and see what's going on. It's always a good measure. You never know what you've done until you see it. Ooh, I reinforced that spine, and I may have broken his spine. So your danger in this has nothing to do with your head getting caved in. Ooh! Is anyone else seeing this? That actually hurt him. That one hit that caved the helmet injured him. So the question is, how many hits can you take like that? Can you stand up through the whole fight with getting hit like that?
Found the gel missing.
Where?
It's on the back.
Ah.
It's off the back of his knee.
Oh yeah, we damaged it that badly. Seriously. Perhaps I'm hitting with the raw mechanics flat. I'm going to try hitting more with the beard first, because I've talked about this before in my science of Viking bearded axes and how they cut. Let's see if that gives it a little more force into the skull. Oof. I think that should have done something. One more for good measure. Oh. Ooh, I hate to be wearing that helmet.
We weren't going to plan on using that one ourselves, will we?
No. I have no love for the helm, and I can probably bend it back out. A lot of this isn't because the helm didn't do its job when it initially got hit. It's because it took multiple hits. If you were in a tourney or something, at a certain point, you would have to give when you felt that metal touch your head if it didn't injure you badly already. Also, the kind of axe blows I'm throwing, you probably would have a broken spine of some sort. You would have a spinal injury. I mean, come on.
Turn it.
Let's check our head. Well, it looks like the give this head has, and the helm itself, has actually protected the skull, although we have bruising, so the helm is actually making contact with the skull. Perhaps the one-handed axe isn't capable of generating that form of energy.
I still say if you had a pick on it, it'd work.
Oh, most certainly. They did test that, and Skal did it. It worked really well.
It's an isolated point of contact is why.
To do something for our Japanese fans, we don't have a actual war hammer with a military pick or a military pick to use. This is very close to the head. These caved it in tremendously, even from the very first blows, just with a Viking Age sword, a late century Viking sword, much like an actual Ulfberg. I'm going to go ahead now, and I'm going to go ahead and hit it with Kusarigama for our samurai ninja fans, our shinobi fans, and see what they think. See if this is good enough. Nice hole straight into it. Didn't do anything to our Kusarigama. Let's see if I can hit it in this spot where it's caved into the head already. See what it is. I'm curious. Skal already tried the Falx. I've already tried it on my helm and know that it'll pierce this because it's about the same gauge. So let's see what happens. That the Falx will do it. I want to do it with this. Oh! Bit high, bit high. We want it over that skull. We want it over that skull. Oof! That was right over the skull, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what happens. I think this might have done the trick. It might have actually hurt him bad enough. It made it worth it. We tried. I'm tearing through gel here. We fractured the skull. There's actually a fracture in it. And there's a hole where the point actually went into the skull. It's just the blood's not going to come out the top. There's several holes where the point actually made it.
Especially when it's all oozed out the bottom already from his broken neck.
Most certainly. We got another one here. So actually these points went into the skull. The actual point from the Kusarigama had actually made it into the skull after the helm was dented, of course. If it wasn't dented, it would probably be like Skal's test and not make it all the way. Hope you all enjoyed the video. This is a little reply to Sean Franklin. There's no hard feelings between me and him, but I posted some of my Rolling War Zeka cast blow videos talking about early century combat, not late century manuals. Nobody was putting those down. And he pretty much kicked me out of the Hema cutting group. I don't know what that was over. I guess he doesn't like my cutting style or it insults him or something. But I hope you all enjoyed my combat today, my combat skills with a Skjaldur and an Ux and a Swart and Farvel.
And apparently this guy is now necklace.